the love, okay? So, what's up, man? What's up, D-Lynn? Yeah, you say your grandson, okay, I hear you, my sister. All right. Peace and love. Peace and love. So let me get this thing started. Listen, so the last time we was together, we was dealing with the Pyramid War 1, okay? Pyramid War 1. This is one of three. This is one of 3 pyramid wars that took place in these ancient, now post-Diluvian times. So this is after the flood. This is everything that took place after the flood. We're about 9,800 BC back. Okay? We have just watched the Anunnaki establish Kim, what we know as Kim, what the world know as the Egyptian civilization. And I've told y'all many times before that we need to get in the habit of calling that place Kim and not Egypt. Okay? When we say Egypt, a lot of times that's an indictment of our level of understanding or our level of history. Okay, so, you know, for people that don't know, the name Egypt came from Greeks. The Greeks coined it Egypt. It had a name before the Greeks, long before the Greeks. Goddamn, it had a name 10,000 years before the Greeks. Okay, so yeah, so we were dealing with the first Pyramid War of Kim. Okay, and this war was between Horus and his uncle Set. Set or Seth, or if you want to be very authentic, Satu. Okay? Satu. That's the African name. Okay? So this battle that was waged between Horus and his uncle happened as a result of Seth betraying his brother Osiris, okay? And I'm using these names because I know they're the names that y'all recognize, okay? But Seth betrayed his brother Osiris, and it resulted in the death of Osiris, all right? The wife of Osiris, who you know as Isis, real name Asar, or Asta, I'm sorry, Asta. Asta decided to retrieve his dead body and basically inseminate herself from his dead body. Somehow, some way, she was able to get that juice up out of that dead penis, and she inseminated herself. And this, in fact, is the first, our first introduction to the idea of an immaculate conception. Okay, so this is the original source of the story of the Immaculate Conception. It does not start with Jesus and Mary. I'm sorry, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, those names are not even real legitimate names. Those are all European made up names for their own purpose. But that story is not, does not begin with Jesus and Mary. That story happens thousands of years before the Jesus and Mary episode. Okay? So Horus was actually the first birth that was considered an immaculate conception. All right. And so this story of Horus and Seth is what we're going to pick up today. Where we left off, Seth had actually defeated Horus. Horus had failed to his death, but he was saved by his uncle Ningazida. If you don't remember, when Seth fired a missile at Horus, he knocked him out the sky, and Horus fell to his death. And his mother, Asta, cried out to the heavens, and Ningazida came. He heard her cries, and he came to the rescue. Ningazida performed some type of medical procedure on Horus, and it brought Horus back to the land of the living. All right. So this is what we're going to pick up today, guys, with Horus being brought back from the dead, and now being about to face Seth for round 2. All right. Shout out to everybody gifting it up, showing the love, man. I appreciate y'all. We finna get this show on the road. There go Miss. So another thing I want to say right before I start again, we're also witnessing the first time in human history that an earthling army has been raised. Do y'all understand that? So, like I say, let me give you where we at on the timeline, okay? So right now we're dealing with something that took place 8,970 BC, okay? So before this time period, there was no armies of humans. Humans didn't even fight each other. You understand? We didn't fight. The Anunnaki fought each other on this planet. We used to just be innocent bystanders. Put a 1 in the chat if you understand that. It's my job to paint the picture of what life was like back then. Because I think people be thinking that humans been around here doing whatever we want to do. We have not. We have not, guys. We were for a long time, we were like children. We were like perpetual children. Okay? We just started gaining our independence. We just now becoming into our adulthood in the last maybe 200 years or so. But for a long time, we were perpetual children under these Anunnaki, okay? So we were not here fighting each other. They were fighting each other, and we were innocent bystanders. But for the first time in human history, has an earthling army been raised. Horus has trained and given the earthlings weapons, okay? He's given the earthlings weapons and he's trained them to fight, okay? And so, and also the Igigi got earthlings too. So what they want you to know is at this point, both sides got an earthling army, okay? So here we go. In the highlands of the south, the Jibble teach him the art of metal and smithing. The secret of a metal called iron, Jibble to Horon reveal. So this is when iron was first introduced to Horus, okay? So a lot of these metals and stuff that we use today, the Anunnaki pulled them out the ground. They had great use for them, whether it was copper, iron, whatever it was. If they could use it, they put it to use, okay? So this was the first time that iron is being mass produced and being used for weapons, okay? From its weapons, Horon made, from loyal earthlings an army he raised. To challenge Satu in the Igigi northward across land and river they march. When Horon and his earthling army, the border of Tilmoon, the land of the missiles, they reached, Satu to Horon words of challenge sent. Between us two alone is the conflict. Let us in a one-on-one contest meet. In the skies above Tilmoon, Satu in his whirlwind for combat awaited Horus. When Horon toward him like a falcon sword, a poison dart Satu shot at him. Like a scorpion sting, Horus fell. Okay, so when they say a poison dart, they're talking about a missile, okay? They're talking about a missile. So Satu shot a missile at Horus out the sky. Horus fell, okay? When Asta saw this, a cry to the heavens she sent forth. For Ningazita she cried out. From his celestial boat, Ningazita came down to save the hero. For his mother he came. Okay, remember? Like I say, when Horus fell to the ground, his mom screamed out for help. Ningazita, his uncle, came to the rescue. With magic powers, Ningazita converted the poison to benevolent blood. By morning was Horus healed. From the dead he was returned. Okay, that was whatever medical procedure that they had access to. Ningazita performed that on Horus. Brought him back to death. Brought him back from the death. The Anunnaki had all of these abilities. They had medicinal abilities, technological abilities. So this shouldn't surprise none of us, okay? Then with a fiery pillar, like a heavenly fish with fins and a fiery tail. If y'all don't know, they're describing the spaceship, okay? There go my sister Simply. We was missing Simply too. Shout out to Simply. Much love, baby girl, much love. Shout out to the family, man. I got to do a better job of keeping her, because I thought we was just missing Miss Donna and Miss Kim, but we was missing Simply too. So I got to make sure I double check. I got to double check. So listen, they're explaining right now what the spaceship looked like. They say, then with a fiery pillar, like a heavenly fish with fins and a fiery tail. Okay? They're explaining to you the spaceship. When they say a fiery tail, they're talking about the flames shooting out of it. Nigazita provided Horon. Nigazita to Horon provided. Okay. Its eyes from blue to red to blue, their colors change. Okay, so it's got some kind of, like most of the UFOs you see, they got a lot of different colors flickering on and off. Okay, so that's what he's explaining right there. Its eyes from blue to red, their colors changed. Toward the triumphant Satu in the fiery pillar, Horon soared. Far and wide each other they chased. Fierce and deadly was the battle. At first, Horon's fiery pillar was hit. Then, with his harpoon, Horon smoked Satu. To the ground, Satu came crashing down. By Horon in tethers was he bound. Check this shit out. So this time, Horus, boom, blast back, okay? So Nigazita then gave him a better spaceship, right? So he fires a shot, bam, he hits Seth. So Seth is falling to the ground when Horus releases tethers. Basically like a laser beam that catches them, okay? So he catches them in the tethers, and so he wouldn't crash. Land, okay? When before the council, Horus came with his captive uncle, they saw that he was blinded and his testicles were squashed. Like a discarded jar he stood. Damn. Did y'all hear that? So when Seth crashed, squashed his nuts. That's one of the injuries. Like, think about that. Hey, now, who would make that up? That's got to be something that's factual. Because who would be even thinking to make... if you wanted to make anything up, if you wanted to say he was hurt, you could have said he broke a leg. You could have said he broke an arm. But to tell us that his testicles were squashed, that's something that really happened, okay? So Horus brings Satu to be judged by the 7 who judge, okay? Now, listen, I want to do something right quick. I want to deviate from the tablets. I want to do something I never did before, okay? So this story about Seth, let me see if I can explain this to y'all. The Anunnaki is not giving y'all all the information. Do y'all understand that? They're not hiding nothing. It's just that when they put together the Lost Book of Enki, they wanted to stick to what they felt was more important. Do you understand? So they're giving you a summation. You're getting a summation of a lot of these things that happen, okay? So one of the things that they don't double down on is what happened to Seth after this. We all know that Seth is a big part of human history, okay? Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Kat. They're giving you the highlights. Now, Chief Kuttah got the ability to give you the inside stuff, but I had to raise y'all up first. Now, the people that took this class 3 or more times, y'all are advanced students. So I can do this for y'all, okay? But the people that's taking it for the first time, you're not going to understand where I'm about to go, okay? You need to take this class a couple times until you really get a grasp on the information. But I want to deviate because I want y'all to know about the story of Seth. I've been telling y'all about this. I've been telling y'all that the idea of Satan, okay? Y'all want to know where we get Satan from. Where's Satan? Somebody existed that had something to do with this Satan that we know about. Okay? The two people that you need to keep your eye on, there's two people you need to put your eye on when it comes to a talk of Satan. And it's not Enlil. Okay? A lot of folks try to say that Enlil was Satan, but it ain't Enlil. Right? Remember when I told y'all that, remember a couple classes ago, I explained to y'all that people had Enlil wrong because Enlil was a military leader. He was so demonstrative that we saw his acts as evil. Okay, so every time Enlil did something, and like when Enlil say, "I want to just let the humans perish," we all looked at that like, man, he wanted us to die. But Enlil was just being a military leader. He was being strategic, okay? And Galzu even told Enki, that Enlil was not wrong in the things he was saying, okay? So if you need to, even though we don't like Enlil, I want you to understand Enlil, okay? Enlil is not the Satan, okay? That's not who he is, okay? We might not like him, but he's not Satan, all right? There's two individuals you need to keep your eye on, okay? That's Marduk, and then that's his son, Seth, okay? Now I'm gonna give y'all what the information where I get my information from. Like I say, I'm connected to many different groups that I exchange information with. So the information that we received is that Satu, is that Seth, is the actual Satan. And where that comes from is his name, Set-un, E-N. And I'm going to tell y'all where the E-N comes from, okay? He wasn't called Set-un at first, okay? He became Set-E-N as a result of being affiliated with Enlil. Okay, I'm gonna deviate. So let me deviate for a minute, and I'm gonna see if I can get this information to y'all about Seth. Okay, y'all be patient with me, man. Be patient with me. I gotta pull this up, and we going to read. Let's try this one first. This one might be it. Uh-oh. So this might be a little bit of the story of Seth. All right, let me get down to it. All right. Oops. That's not the one, but I need that one too. Hmm. Nah, this ain't what I'm looking for, but check this out. Yeshua came from a tribe originally known as Jews. Jews in today's parlance. Y'all remember when I told y'all that? I love some validation. Remember I told y'all that? Jesus came from a tribe originally known as Jews. Oh my God, boy, they got some shit on here. Woo! Enki was the son. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. This is not it either. I think I found it. Oh, I didn't. That's not what I'm looking for. Oh, shit. I'm gonna have to find it and come back to it because it's not where it should be. Yeah. Let me take one more look. I done took this long. Let me take one more look. And if I can't find it, I'm going to try to bring it back. I'm going to have to find it and bring it back tomorrow. Okay, I found it. Sheesh. Seth's secret deal with Marduk. Yeah, I think I found it, gang. I got it. Okay, so I'm going to share this with y'all about Seth and why they call him Satan. All right, so here we go. So I'm finna deviate from the normal readings, and I'm finna give y'all some side information. All right, let me do this properly. So go back. All right, give me 2 additional minutes to set everything up. Give me 2 additional minutes. I'm gonna set everything up, and then we're gonna get this thing restarted. All right? Because I never gave y'all this information on Seth. Okay? All right. Let's get this thing on the road. Okay, so Horus has just defeated Seth, right? An aerial battle. Put a 1 in the chat if everybody understand that. It's an aerial battle, an aerial fight that just took place. And if you want to find proof of this, go read the Mahabharata, because they talk about this in the Mahabharata. Okay, the Indus Valley civilization talks about these wars fought in Vimanas. Give me a 5 in the chat if you've ever heard Indian history and heard them talk about wars that were fought in Vimanas, right? In these spaceships, these castles, these flying castles is the way they explained them. Okay, so these are the battles that they're talking about, gang. Okay, so if you ever study an Indian history, if you ever study an Indus Valley civilization history, and you hear them talking about these aerial wars, these aerial battles, okay, this is the same thing. They're not talking about something that happened in their land. They're talking about what happened in this land, but they're telling it in their land. They're telling it from their perspective, okay? So this aerial battle between Seth and Horus ended with Seth basically crashing to the ground and having his testicles squashed, okay? Now, the reason that information is important is because this is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? If you're an Anunnaki, if you're a male Anunnaki, an heir to a throne, and you can't have kids, that's a big deal. Okay, so this is why they're telling you that his testicles were squashed, because this is a huge deal for somebody who has to be able to have an heir. Okay. When before the council Horus came with his captive uncle, they saw that he was blinded, his testicles squashed like a discarded jar. He stood. Let Satu, blind and airless, live. So did Asta to the council say. Okay, so, they bringing him forth to be judged. Asta, boy, she not playing, okay? Asta say, no, let him live blind and airless. So, the fact that he's blind and his testicles been squashed, Asta say, this is better punishment for him. Okay, for him to be tortured. See, people be quick to be like, put him to death. Death is an easy out. That's an easy out. If you really want to inflict pain on your enemy, then you want them to be tortured. Okay? And so Asta felt like him living, not being able to have a child, him living in darkness, blinded, then that would be suffice. That would suffice the level of punishment for her. Okay? To end his days as a mortal among the Igigi, the council determined his fate. Triumphant was Horon declared, the throne of his father to inherit. On a metal tablet was the council's decision inscribed. In the hall of records, they placed it. In his abode, Marduk, with the decision, was pleased. By what had happened, he was sorrowed. Because these his sons. Though Horon, a son of Asar, he was, from Shamgaz the Igigi, he was descended. Though Horon, a son of Asar, his son was, from Shamgaz the Igigi, he was descended. A domain, one as among the Anunnaki allocated to him, was not given. Okay? So they talking about Seth. Seth don't receive no land. They're not going to give him his own domain. You know what I mean? These are the, let me read this over. So Seth don't get no land. He don't get land granted to him, right? A domain, one as among the Anunnaki allocated to him, was not given. Having lost both sons in each other, Marduk and Sarpanian sought solace. In time to them, another son was born. His name was Nabu, the prophecy bearer they named him. Okay, so Nabu was the third son. Marduk had 3 sons. You want to write this down, guys. These are the notes you want to take. Marduk had 3 sons. Okay, Asar, aka Osiris. Seth, Satu, aka Set. And the third was Nabu. And that's all we got for him. We don't know no other name for Nabu, but Nabu. All right? So what happened to old Seth, all right? See, let me show you something. Now, the Anunnaki, the way they tell this story, they going on to the next chapter, right? But it will leave you asking what happened to Seth. He didn't just disappear into the clouds, you know what I'm saying? He was, his testicles were squashed, he was blind. What became of Seth? Okay, so let me deviate. So let's take a look at what actually became of Seth from the deviation. Okay, this is called Seth's secret deal with Marduk. This is a deviation. This, again, this is not in the lost book of Enki. Okay, this is not in the lost book of Enki. You ain't gonna be, this information that I'm giving you right now, you can only get this information from being part of the forums that I frequent. I'm a part of groups. I'm a part of like these, these forums that, these ain't places, these ain't websites and stuff like this. But you can only get this information being in contact with other people that's in the know. Okay, so like I tell y'all, every fucking thing ain't in a book. Everything ain't in the book. So for all the dudes out there that be like, oh, I can just go buy the book. You ain't gonna be able to get this in the book. So let's get it. Seth's secret deal with Marduk. It's only when one carefully reads between the lines of the Sumerian record in the apocryphal Book of Jubilees that they will come to comprehend what really transpired. When Seth moved into Shem's territory, courtesy of the Elamite themselves, after losing the war with Horus, he had a secret pact with Marduk. Okay, let me try to make this easy for y'all. Seth had to leave his land, the land that he was living in. He had to leave that land after he lost to Horus. Guess where he went? Guess where he went to have a place to stay? He went to Uncle Enlil. Okay, this is what I want y'all to understand. So after Seth got his testicles squashed and he blind, he ain't got shit going on. His old lady don't even want him no more, right? His old lady done used him. Y'all remember Nephite, or what we call Nut? That was her name. She basically was worrying the shit. She was worrying the shit out of Seth to betray his brother. Okay, so he finally betrayed his brother and he ended up losing. And I guess his wife don't even want nothing to do with him no more. So he goes to Enlil. He goes with Uncle Enlil for a place to stay. But what people don't know is this was all a plan. This was all a trick. Okay? So watch this shit. Let me say this. Just because Marduk was upset with Seth, that don't mean he stopped loving Seth. That's still his son. You understand that? Like, that's still his son. Like, yeah, you caused your brother's death, right? But that's still Marduk's son. So Marduk still had love for him. Okay? So what we are to understand is that they had some kind of secret pact. Seth was being sent into Enlil's lands as an agent, as a spy. This was his secret. He was being sent into Enlil's lands as a spy. Like I told you, the Anunnaki ain't giving y'all everything. It's a lot of shit that they don't talk about. This course, I'm going to be getting into all of the stuff that they don't talk about. The other wars, the wars that took place that they don't talk about. I'm getting to it, all right? So, Marduk made a secret pact with Seth. Okay? This is what we finna be dealing with, all right? When Seth moved into Shem's territory, courtesy of the Elamites themselves, after losing the war with Horus, he had a secret pact with Marduk. Y'all remember I told y'all Shem and Japhet lived in Enlil's lands, okay? When they broke down, okay, so remember when after the flood, everybody was arguing over land, and basically Ningazita and Marduk got into it, and Marduk was like, I want my own land, I want my own earthlings, and everybody started, and then Ninmar came in and said we need to split the land up so everybody be happy, right? And so that's when they split this land up. This is the Great Divider. Remember I told y'all the Arabian Peninsula is the Great Divider from what they call the Middle Eastern side from the African side, okay? And this is the Great Divider in the middle. This is the Arabian Peninsula today. In their day, they called it Tilmun, place of the rocket ships. And this was off limits to any earthlings, okay? Tilmun was off limits to earthlings, all right? So on this side, you got Shem, Japhet, the descendants of Shem and Japhet, over here in the Elamite lands. Everything in the Middle Eastern side was basically the Elamite That's how they pronounce them, Elamites, okay? This was the Elamite land. Over here was the descendants of Ham. This was the Enki. This is what Enki and Marduk's side of the map, okay? So this is where I just want y'all to understand Seth was sent from here and he went over here to live, okay? So Seth had to come over here to live, all right? The pact was for Seth to eventually appropriate the land between the spaceport in the Sinai Peninsula and the landing place at Baalbek in Lebanon. So that these global strategic places should come under the control of the Enkites. The annexation would also be a great springboard to Marduk's ascendancy to global supremacy as the new Enlil when the age of Aries dawned. Okay? So listen, guys, I want y'all to understand what was going on. Marduk had already planned to do a global takeover. This is what we're starting to understand. A part of this plan to take over everything was sending Seth as a spy into these lands. Okay? He wanted Seth to take over this section over here. From the landing place, which is in Lebanon. Remember that I showed y'all Baalbek? He wanted Seth to be able to take over from Baalbek all the way down to the Arabian Peninsula. Right? And he wanted him to take that over and bring that power to him so that Marduk would control all of this. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all understand the strategicness of these war plans. These are war plans, okay? Do y'all understand what Marduk is trying to do strategically? He is trying to take over the Fertile Crescent. This is what we call the Fertile Crescent. He was trying to take over the Fertile Crescent. Okay. So old ballless blind Seth is over here as an innocent spy. Don't nobody know he's spying though. Now this is what I want y'all to understand. Seth ain't over here on no bullshit. Seth over here on some decrepit. Don't nobody even know, I mean, he's like decrepit. At least that's what they think, right? Wink, wink. That's what they think. Watch this. The pact was for Seth to eventually appropriate the land between the spaceport in the Sinai Peninsula and the landing place at Baalbek in Lebanon, so that these globally strategic places should come under the control of the Enkites. Now, whereas Noah had no say over Seth, who was a god, he did have sway over fellow earthlings. When the earth was divided amongst his 3 sons in the immediate aftermath of the deluge, each one of the sons undertook an oath by which they were to abide through thick and thin. The oath said that anyone who encroached upon another's territory would be accursed of God. That is Enlil. This is who they considered God. Their God was Enlil. Do y'all understand? I'm going to run that back for y'all. Listen. So they say, Seth, okay, listen. When Seth went into this land, he didn't have to answer to Noah. Remember? He didn't have to answer to Noah or his sons because Seth was considered a god. All the Anunnaki, the high-level Anunnakis were considered gods over the earthlings, okay? Now, whereas Noah had no say over Seth, who was a god, who was considered a god, he did have sway over fellow earthlings. When the earth was divided amongst his 3 sons, Shem, Japheth, and Ham, and see how they say when the world was divided? Let me stop and do this right quick. Notice how they say when the world was divided between his 3 sons. Do y'all understand that this was the whole world at that time? This is what they consider. When they speak about the world, they don't give a fuck about what's way out west. They don't give a fuck about what's way out east. All they care about is what's in front of them. That's the world to them. Okay? So at this time, there is no other civilization that's really going on. The only real civilization is here in Africa. Okay, Africa and the Middle East. So that's what they mean when they talk about the world being split up by his sons. Okay. When the earth was divided amongst his three sons in the immediate aftermath of the deluge, each one of these sons undertook an oath by which they were to abide through thick and thin. This oath said that anyone who encroached upon another's territory would be accursed of God. So that means that Ham, don't go over here into Shem and Japheth's land. Shem and Japheth, don't go over into Ham's land. So forth for the descendants as well. And that goes for their descendants, okay? Of Ham's progeny, it was only the people led by Canaan who rallied to Seth in the war against Horus. Of Ham's progeny, it was only the people led by Canaan who rallied to Seth in the war against Horus. Southern Egypt, which was allocated to Seth in the time of Osiris, was dominated by Canaan's people, later to be known as Canaanites. It were the Canaanites, secretly prodded by Marduk, who opted to follow after their god Seth in Lebanon, ostensibly to provide him a spiritual boost. Okay, this is the inside shit. This the inside shit right here, bro. Okay? So now, I mean, you get to understand how the Canaanites, who the Canaanites are, what role did the Canaanites play in this, okay? We're going to get to it. Let's get it. Before the Canaanites processed into Lebanon, Ham himself, Cush, and Mizraim did their utmost to dissuade Canaan for fear of the inevitable repercussions. Okay? Ham is telling Canaan, don't go here. Remember the curse? If any brother encroach upon any brother's land, then they shall be accursed by Enlil. Okay? So Canaan is pushing into this land behind Seth, but that's a violation. Okay? Canaan was adamant that he had every right to be with his God, says the book of Jubilees. And Ham, his father, and Cush and Mizraim, his brothers, said unto him, thou wilt have settled in a land which is not thine, and which did not fall to us by lot. Do not do so, for thou, if thus do so, thou and thy sons will be fallen in the land, and be accursed through sedition. For by sedition ye have settled, and by sedition will the children fall, and thou shalt be rooted out forever. Dwell not in the dwelling of Shem, for to Shem and his sons did it come to them by lot. Okay, so that's the biblical scripture that talks about Ham telling Canaan not to encroach on his brother's land. Okay? Canaan says that his God is there. Okay? So let me stop right quick. Let's take it. Didn't I tell y'all we dealing with multiple gods in the Bible? Didn't I tell y'all we dealing with multiple gods in the Bible? Canaan say their God was Seth. Oh, yeah. Oh, church ain't never tell y'all that. Canaan say his God was Seth, and that he wanted to go be with his God. Oh, but church ain't tell y'all that, huh? And let me give y'all the definition of sedition so we understand what we're dealing with that. Okay. Okay, in the Bible, seditions are disturbances leading up to fighting. Okay, so let's take a look at that again. So, for if thou does, thou and thy sons will be fallen in the land and accursed through sedition. By sedition ye have settled, and by sedition will the children fall. So by causing disturbances, okay? So this is what they were saying. By causing these disturbances through fighting, you're trying to get this land. You can only get this land by a lot, by being cast to you by lot. So Ham is saying this is not the way, okay? When at long last Canaan and his people were established in Lebanon, the full brunt of the curse came to bear. If y'all ever want to read this stuff, you got to get the Book of Jubilees. And unfortunately, the Book of Jubilees is one of the ones they took out of the Bible during the Council of Nicaea. So if you don't know nothing about the Council of Nicaea, do your research. That's when Emperor Constantine removed 13 of the original books of the Bible. The Book of Jubilee, the Book of Enoch, the Book of Isaiah. So it's quite a few of them. But this is where this information comes from. This is why this information was never taught to you in the church. See what I'm saying? See, like, come on now. Like, this ain't, like I say, man, this is the history of Earth. This ain't got nothing to do with the creator of all. This is about the history of Earth. Now y'all starting to see what the Bible is about. Give me a 1 in the chat if you starting to see that the Bible is more about the history of what took place on earth than it is about a connection to the Most High. Now y'all see. Now y'all see. And I'm telling y'all guys, the world need this. The world need this understanding. That dude, Billy Carson, he not teaching this shit like this. I need folks to stop bringing up that dude to me like me and him teaching the same shit. We teaching about the same shit, but we not teaching the same stuff, dog. I had a dude tell me the other day, well, you know, I took Billy's class, you know, I'm like, man, well, you need to come take mine if you want the truth. If you want to deal with the truth. When at long last Canaan and his people were established in Lebanon, the full brunt of the curse came to bear. Cursed art thou, and cursed shalt thou be, and cursed shalt, I hate this biblical language, and cursed shalt thou be beyond the sons of Noah. Okay? By the curse which we bound ourselves by an oath in the presence of the holy judge, Enlil, and in the presence of Noah our father. Okay, let me read that again. I got something I'm finna give y'all. Watch this. When at long last Canaan and his people were established in Lebanon, the full brunt of the curse came to bear. Cursed art thou, and cursed shalt thou be beyond the sons of Noah. By the curse which we bound ourselves by an oath in the presence of the holy judge Enlil, and in the presence of Noah our father. Okay. So them folks been telling y'all about the curse of Ham. Ham wasn't cursed. It wasn't Ham who was cursed. It was Canaan. It was Canaan who cursed. It was Canaan and his descendants and the descendants of Canaan. Do y'all understand that? That's what they just told you. Okay, let me run it back. Ham told Canaan, don't go into these lands. Do not cross over into your brother's lands. Canaan says, I'm following my God. Seth is my God. Come on now, I'm finna bring it home. So he says Seth is his God, right? So Seth is up here with the Ijiji and on the landing place. That's where the Ijiji dwell, on the landing place, okay? That's where Seth went to dwell. Remember, his father-in-law is an Ijiji. Okay, Shamgaz. So he goes there to dwell. Canaan says, I'm taking my people up here to be with my God, Seth. Okay? Ham told him that if you did this, the curse will fall upon you. And that's exactly what happened. It turns out the curse did not involve Ham at all, or a transgression against Noah as an individual. It was already an enacted clause which was rightfully and justly invoked when Canaan unlawfully crossed over into Shem's territory. There is no curse of Ham. They told you this beautiful brown melanated skin was a curse. These folk been lying to y'all. And this is why it is very important that brothers like Chief Kuttah, and Chief Kuttah the only one that can do this. I ain't met nobody, guys. I'm telling y'all, I'm watching everybody's shit and everybody behind me. These dudes still breaking down the biblical information from American society perspective. They haven't went and broke down the biblical perspective from the Sumerian tablet perspective. I'm the only one that's doing that. Okay? So boom, the curse of Ham, throw that shit out. It's a lie. Didn't work like that. Canaan was cursed. Canaan. When the Canaanites moved into Shem's territory, the Elamites made very light of the matter. Why? There were likely two main reasons that they made very light of it. First, the days of their god Seth were numbered. Not only was he gravely ill, but he had been condemned by the council of gods to live like a mortal. Okay, so listen. Watch this. Much love, Sand Breeze. Check this out. So when Seth, whose testicles are squashed and he's blinded, remember the tablets just told us that Asta say, let him just live in torture. Let him be tortured the rest of his days, right? So they basically ruled that Seth would die out as a mortal. He would live his days out as a mortal, okay, instead of as a god, right? So when Seth moved into these lands, nobody really had a problem with it because he wasn't powerful. Do y'all understand that? Put a 2 in the chat if you understand that. The people of these lands, they didn't take offense to Seth coming into them lands because they were like, man, nigga fucked up. He ain't gonna do nothing. Ain't nothing, man. Leave him alone, man. His balls squashed. He blind. It ain't like he that strong force that he used to be. All right? Imagine if you used to be like Debo. Imagine if you used to be like Debo, and then you got shot in the back and you paralyzed from the waist down. Ain't nobody scared of you no more. Ain't nobody scared of you no more. Ain't nobody that's the way they looked at it. So they was like, oh, he ain't no threat. That's basically what they did. They looked at his condition and they said that he wasn't a threat. Okay? Not only was he gravely ill, but he had been condemned by the council of gods to live like a mortal. What did that mean? Fundamentally, it meant that he was deprived, at least officially, of the vital longevity boosting substance, the monatomic powder of gold, today we called Oramus. Okay? So when they say he was banished to live his days as a mortal, you got to remember Anunnaki had that what I told you was monatomic gold, the manna. And so by ingesting this monatomic gold, it increased their lifespan. It increased their lifespans. It increased their vitality. It increased their health. Remember, I told y'all monatomic gold got some amazing properties. Okay? We done spoke about this before. Right? So they deprived him of this. Right? Seth was certain to die sooner rather than later. And since he had no heirs, that would spell the end of his cult following. Second, the Elamites counted on the possibility that with time, future generation Canaanites might switch allegiances from Enkite to Elanite, and thus swell the ranks of earthlings who dance to the totem of the bull, which is Enlil's symbol. Okay, y'all remember they was talking about people worshiping false gods. They was worshiping calves and bulls and stuff. Put a 1 in the chat if you ever remember biblically hearing about these people who was worshiping the golden calf and the bull and all of this. Okay, that's who they was worshiping. That was Enlil worship. That was Enlil worship. Yeah, that's who they was talking about. But guess who that is? Watch this shit though. Watch this. But watch this, gang. Guess who it was telling you that they was worshiping, that they was worshiping a false god? Guess who is telling you that they was worshiping a false god? Take a guess. Who you think was telling you that they was worshiping a false god? Nah. There you go. Come on, Seeing Breezy. Seeing Breezy, man. Come on, Seeing Breezy. Y'all, listen, we far away from Moses, big dog. Moses ain't even born yet. That's the time of Moses is like 3,000-4,000 years away. You're not even close. That's why it's key to understand your timeline. We're not even close to the time of Moses. That's like 5,000 years away from where we at right now. Okay? Marduk is the author of the Christian Bible, guys. Marduk, Amun-Ra, is the author of the Christian Bible. So when you hear them talking about these people were worshiping false gods and he's talking against them just the way they talked against him. So when you read, just like in Islam, think about what you read about in Islam, what they say about in Christianity. Okay? It goes vice versa. So this was the golden bull or the golden calf. This was Enlil worship. Okay? This was Enlil worship. Yeah, we're a long way from the time of Moses and Abraham, guys. We're gonna get there. We're a long way. We're back at 8,970 BC. So we're far away from those times. The time of Moses is after that's after the pharaonic dynasties. So yeah, we're about 5,000-6,000 away from that. So anyway, hear me out. Exactly, Cat. Marduk wanted to be the one true God, so I'm gonna hate on the other gods. Don't worship that God. Worship me. You feel me? That's what was going on. Don't worship that God. Worship me. That's the false God. Not me. He the false God. Right? So there's a lot of that going on back then. So check this out. So the people of this land, they wasn't on edge about Seth coming into this land because they felt like he was old and decrepit. They felt like he was hurt. Wasn't nothing he was going to be able to do. And number two, they was hoping that the Canaanites would come over to their side. Do y'all understand that? So the Elamites, they was like, oh, let them Canaanites come on in here. Let them come on in here. Because maybe we can get them to come over to our side and join our army. That's what they was hoping. Okay? So this is, listen. The two sides are the Enkites. The Enkites led by Marduk. And the Elamites led by Enlil. Okay? The Elamites thought maybe that the Canaanites would join their side and become Elamites. Okay? So those are the two reasons that they didn't have a problem with Seth coming into this land. But they don't know that old Seth is a spy. They don't know that old Seth playing possum. Okay, here we go. At first, Seth pulled a prank on the Elamites. Apparently, he did fully recover from his infirmities. Them balls healed. He not blind no more. He was finessing. Okay, here we go. Listen up. At first, Seth pulled a prank on the Elamites. Apparently, he did fully recover from his infirmities. It is probable that unlike his castration, which was permanent, his sight was restored. Okay? So they say his castration was probably permanent, but his sight was restored. In all likelihood, thanks to the medical genius of Ningazida, as his blindness is not emphasized in the Sumerian records. Upon his recovery, the Elamites made a proposition to him for switching of camps in their favor. So now they're trying to get that boy Seth to come on over officially. Okay? They trying to get Seth to come over officially. They're like, hey, man, come on, Seth. Come fuck with us, man. You need to come rock with us anyway. Bring your people over here with us, dog. Seth duly agreed. Finesse. Seth duly agreed, though this was a ruse on his part. Seth's role now was to recruit the Canaanites to the Elamite fold. He was to test their genuineness of their commitment to the Elamite cause by administering them a kind of truth serum. I'm slow it down. Told y'all I had to deviate a little bit. We finna get somewhere. Y'all heard that? So the conditions of him coming to this side was for him to convince his people, the Canaanites, to come and join the Elamites, okay? He was to test their genuineness of their commitment to the Elamite cause by administering to them a kind of truth serum or a lie detector test. Okay, so he's basically assessing his own people to see who's going to be loyal to the Elamite cause. So he's basically pretending to be checking their loyalty, but you know, at the end of the day, it's all a finesse, okay? But that's what he's pretending to do, to see if the Canaanites are going to, in fact, truly be loyal to the Elamites, okay? So to do this, he administered them a kind of truth serum or a lie detector test. It was an account of this role that his name, Set-On, took on the new meaning of Truth Lord. Okay, so listen, here we go. So due to him coming up with this truth serum or this lie detector test to check the loyalty of the Canaanites, it was on this account that he was given the name Set, S-E-T -E-N. Set-On. Right? Basically, and they said the new meaning of Truth Lord. That's what they say it means. Truth Lord. Right? Set-On. Set being his name, the E-N being his new affiliation with the Elamites. Okay? Set-On, Set-In or Set-On took on the new meaning of Truth Lord. When Yeshua was tempted of Satan in the Judean wilderness, it was not by a supernatural king of the fallen angels. It was an agent of Enlil, Set-On/Satan, who was mandated to have a go at co-opting Yeshua into the Elamite faction of the Anunnaki. See, Yeshua had committed to be an Enkite under the tutelage of Ningazida. Ningazida was training Yeshua, okay? But Yeshua, wait till we do the story of Yeshua. So y'all can know the truth, man. The story of Yeshua gonna blow you away, man. I'm trying to give y'all the real truth, man. God damn, man. They done gave these goddamn preachers $1 billion. They done gave these preachers billions of dollars. And them motherfuckers ain't did nothing but gave y'all lies and inconsistencies. That's all they did. It's the truth, bro. It's the real truth. They made y'all think that it wasn't no real story to this. Everything about the Bible is so fucking mythical and so like, oh, it was this time where everything was hazy and no, nigga, it's a real story to this shit. Somebody, whoever natural paramedic is, show that person the dough. Paramedic, natural paramedic, show that person the dough. I'm talking about, we don't know who the fuck was you. Question mark. The fuck? That's some. You gotta be a rude ass person to come in somebody live and then put up a question mark like you supposed to know what we talking about. You ain't in our course. Why would you know what the fuck going on? Never mind. These people just weird. So you need to understand that it was Set. It was Set who tried to tempt Yeshua. It was Set who is considered the Satan. Okay? It is Set who is considered Satan. This is where the name comes from. It was an agent of Enlil, a Satan, who was mandated to have a go at co-opting Yeshua into the Elanite faction of the Anunnaki. Yeshua was an Enkite. While Seth was pretending to dutifully pander to the Elanite agenda, he was at the same time rallying in force a mighty army to overrun Shem's lands in cahoots with Marduk. Okay, y'all finna learn how this became, how this became Canaan. How this land became Canaan. That's what you're getting ready to learn. While Seth was pretending to dutifully pander to the Elanite agenda, he was at the same time rallying in force a mighty army to overrun Shem's land in cahoots with Marduk, under the pretext that he was preparing for another clash with Horus for the retaking of Egypt. Marduk was resentful of the fact that whilst Tilmon, the spaceport, was supposed to be a neutral area, that the Elamites were the one running the show there. Ninmah, the official overseer, had been reduced to a figurehead, if not an outright Elamite puppet. Marduk's scheme eventually did bear fruit, though, although scholars have underemphasized his triumph. Seth did march on the Sinai Peninsula and capture the spaceport without the Elamites putting up the merest fight. Seth did march on the Sinai Peninsula and captured the spaceport without the Elamites putting up the merest fight, having been thoroughly outwitted. Meanwhile, the triumphant Canaanites fanned all over Shem's land, settled them, and appropriately renamed them Canaan, which was to become Palestine in New Testament times. Let me give y'all a different look. Let me give y'all a different map. Amen. I can't wait to go back and rewatch this one on okay, look at what we got right here. Canaan, Lebanon. This is how this became Canaan. Okay? Remember, the Canaanites marched up to Lebanon, to Baalbek, to be with Seth. Okay? And now, after they got comfortable in the Elamites' land, they started to take over. They marched back down. They made the Elamites think that they were going to war with Horus again. But that was the finesse. They was actually going to take over Tilmon. Okay, the spaceport. And once they took over the spaceport, they took over these other lands. So this is how these lands became the land of Canaan. Canaanites fanned all over Shem's land, settled them, and appropriately renamed them Canaan, which was to become Palestine in New Testament times. The Enkites now had control of the landing place. Okay, watch this shit. So the Canaanites became the Palestinians. The MELANATED were the Jews. These fake Jews then came in and took on this ancient battle. And this is why you see Palestine being bombed today by the fake Israel. Do y'all understand that? Come on now. You say, why are they bombing them people in Palestine? I told y'all we live in these biblical wars. These are the biblical wars. Y'all just gave it to you. Why are they bombing Palestine? Because 10,000 years ago, Seth and the Canaanites took over Shem and Japheth's land, the MELANATE's land. Okay? And so now the fake Jews are bombing them people in retaliation to a 10,000-year-old war. Because the fake Jews are trying to claim that the fake Jews basically then stepped in and put on somebody else's costume. Okay? They feel like if they can live up to it, then they're gonna get all the blessings from being the Jews. Okay? But that's where that war is coming from this. The Enkites now had control of the landing place, the spaceport, the mission control center at Jerusalem, and the Giza pyramid. The principal symbols where the Anunnaki asserted their might. It is obvious from the Sumerian records that Seth did capture the Sinai Peninsula, as we read of Enki and Ninmah deliberating together as to which Enkite should rule a particular segment of the region. In one passage, Enki suggests to Ninmah, let Inshag, either Seth or Marduk's son Nabu, scholars are not sure, to rule Tilmun. It was at this juncture that Ninmah was conferred the title of Mistress of the Great Pyramid by the Egyptians, and also began to be addressed as Hathor, and paraphrase meaning rocket goddess. Okay? So Ninmah is Hathor, if y'all want to write that down, in the pantheon of the Neteru. In the pantheon of the Neteru, I wouldn't say our costume, my love. I'm going to be honest with you, Corlisa. That's one of the things I'm trying to teach y'all. This is not, these stories, this is not an individual story of one black group, okay? So when you be hearing folks talk about we the tribe of Israel, we this and we that, the tribes of Israel were many different tribes. Not all of us come from the not all of us come from the from the house of Israel, okay? So, you know, we don't know. We have to, you know, I guess we have to try to do this work genetically to figure out what tribe we come from. But we don't always come from these different tribes. Some of us might be from the Enkite tribe. Some of us might be from MELANATE tribes. But basically, yeah, but you're right. They still in the story of melanated peoples. So at the end of the day, you're right about that. They still in the story of melanated peoples. But we definitely need to do the work to find out what tribes we come from. Because that's what slavery cut us off from. We don't know what tribe we come from because, you know, somebody put their own system of government on us and called us black. All right? So here we go. To the Elamites, however, Ninmah had sold out. She was dubbed Sir, meaning snake, since in their eyes, she now was a witting tool of the Enkites, who were called serpents in mocking. The original meaning was a most noble one. Enki was of the serpent race of Orion, as opposed to Enlil, who was of the wolfen leonine race of Sirius. Marduk in Enki represents the serpent. Marduk in Enki represents the serpent. The seizure of Shem's land by Seth is such a glaring embarrassment to the pro-Elamite Levite authors of Pentateuch that it has been skirted in the Bible. It was this act of Elamite betrayal on the part of Seth that turned him from Set in, the truth Lord, to Satan, the devil. Just gave it to you. Just gave it to you. Story of Seth. You needed to know. Because let me tell y'all something. The Anunnaki was going to move on. They wasn't going to explain none of this to you. But people keep asking me, where do we get the story of Satan from? And I kept telling y'all, I told y'all, Satan and Lucifer is two different entities. Y'all remember I told y'all that? Put a 1 in the chat if you remember me hearing me saying that Lucifer and Satan is two different entities. Not the same. Not the same. Lucifer is a cosmic being equal to that of what we call Yahweh, or consciousness. Okay? I think I had a class where I talked to y'all about the Ahriman and all of that. That's Lucifer. Lucifer is the one who basically raised the Draconians. Okay? Now, this Satan character is a different character. Okay? This Satan character is a different character. None of this shit you've been taught is true. Your idea of the devil and all of this shit is a misinterpretation of other informations, other pieces of information. Just like we talk about the reptilians going to live underground. So if I showed you what a Draco reptilian looked like, and I told you the Draco reptilians live in inner earth underground, you can see where this concept of a dragon-horned deity living in the ground comes from. All that shit y'all believe come from baby brains. That is what the class is about. This class is about graduating out of baby braindom. That's what this class is supposed to be about. If you've been living with that baby brain information your whole life, it's time to divorce it, and it's time to come into the truth. There's a real story to all this information. So like I just gave it to you, Seth basically betrayed and tricked the Elamites. Okay? And as a result of that, him and Ninmah, who also they felt like betrayed them, was dubbed serpents, snakes. This act of betrayal from Seth is what turned him from Set-on, the truth Lord, to Satan, the devil. That's where we get that whole concept of the devil from, is that somebody is trying to make you hate somebody that did something to them. Do y'all understand that? Enlil wants you to see Seth as the devil or evil entity, somebody who's evil. The same way Marduk wants you to see Enlil as somebody evil. They both calling each other evil. And they confusing the shit out of their followers. Okay? Now, it's more to this story. It's more to this story, and we're gonna come back to it. But I want to stop right there because that was important, because I wanted y'all to know about Seth. I wanted y'all to know who Seth really was in reference to this story. Because like I say, I'm going to go back to the tablets and I'm going to show you that they're going to move on. They weren't going to never tell you about all this stuff about Seth. They was just going to leave you with he got his testicle squashed and that he was blind. But it was more to the story. So there you have it. Now, this is the account of why in the far away a new chariot place was built. In the love of Dumuzi and Inanna that Marduk by Dumuzi's death disrupted, okay? So we're going to be dealing with, now we're moving along, okay? Enki, we're going to be dealing with Enki's youngest son, okay? Appreciate the love, Corlisa. Okay, so now we're about to be dealing with the story of Enki's youngest son. Remember I told you Enki got 5 sons. Marduk, his oldest, Ningazita, Nergal, Jibal, Nenagal, and the last one, well, he got 6 sons, Dumuzi. Okay? Dumuzi. Y'all remember Dumuzi was one of the ones that took that took Adapa to go see Anu. But then Dumuzi stayed with his granddaddy for a couple showers, okay, before he returned. So Dumuzi is the baby boy, all right? So we're going to be dealing with the story of Dumuzi and Inanna. You about to get a chance to meet Inanna. You might have heard me refer to her as the Il Nana. Okay, you're going to see why. You're going to see why. Okay. Inanna is also the Babylonian deity known as Ishtar, from whence we get Eastar. Okay. I be telling y'all around this motherfucker celebrating Easter. Y'all don't know. Y'all been worshiping these deities and don't even know what the hell you're worshiping. Because you just believe in shit. You're just going along with shit. Yeah, you've been worshiping these demonic deities the whole damn time. But they say the course ain't worth nothing. But they say it ain't worth nothing. Okay. So we're going to be dealing with the story of Dumuzi and Inanna, right? It was after the contesting of Horon and Satu in their aerial battle over Tilmun that Enlil summoned his 3 sons to a council. With concern to them of what was happening, he said, "In the beginning, the earthlings in our image and after our likeness we made. Now the Anunnaki offspring in the image and likeness of the earthlings have become. Then it was Cain who killed his brother. Now a son of Marduk is his brother's killer. For the first time ever, an Anunnaki offspring from earthlings has raised an army. Weapons from a metal of the Anunnaki, a secret in their hands he placed." We ain't know nothing about iron. Horus gave us that. You understand? And Horus wasn't the only one that taught us about these metals. Some of the EGG taught earthlings about these metals too, okay? From the days when Alalu and Anzu, our legitimacy was challenged, disruption and rule breaking by the EGG continued. This is Enlil looking back at everything that's taking place, right? Enlil is basically saying, man, at one time, you know, we were the gods and we made these earthlings in our image. Now the earthlings are starting to run things. And we starting to act more like the earthlings as opposed to them acting like us, right? Now the beacon peaks in the domain of Marduk are located. The landing place is held by the EGG. Now, toward the place of the chariots, the EGG are advancing. In the name of Satu, to all the heaven-earth facilities, they will lay claim. So did Enlil to his 3 sons say. To take counter steps to them he proposed. So he about to tell his sons what steps they need to take in order to prevent this invasion. But listen up. Now you can see what's going on. You can see now that you got 2 brothers, and the sons of those brothers are fighting each other. Not necessarily the sons, but one son is fighting uncle, and you know, of course, the nephews are going to help their father. You know what I'm saying? But you can see that this war is between Anunnaki. But now they have started to involve earthlings, because the earthlings are under their control, under their their leadership and guidance. Okay? Just like the Canaanites said Seth was their God. So if Seth was going to go to war, they was going to go to war with him. Okay? So Enlil proposed to his sons that they take these steps. An alternative heaven-earth facility in secret we must establish. Let it in the nurture's land beyond the oceans in the midst of the trusted earthlings come to be. Let me read that again so you can understand. He gave them, he told them, he gave them 3 options that they needed to exercise. He says an alternative heaven-earth facility in secret we must establish. Let it in the nurture's land beyond the oceans in the midst of trusted earthlings come to be. So he's talking about over here in the Americas. Okay? He say, let us establish a new heaven-earth facility in secret. Okay? Are y'all familiar with sites like Pumapunku and Tiahuanaco in Peru? Machu Picchu, Tiahuanaco, Pumapunku, and some other sites over there in Peru as well. Are y'all familiar with those sites? This is what he's talking about. This is the alternative heaven-earth facility in secret we must establish. Boom, check it out. Look at these steps, man. Come on, who was over there? Them ain't no steps for no goddamn humans. Huh? Look at them steps. Look at the little earthlings sitting on them steps made for somebody 20 feet tall. Y'all see that? This is in Peru, guys. This is the heaven-earth facilities. These are the heaven-earth facilities in Peru. Look at the steps on them. We over that bitch like little ants. All right. This is the site of the twin tower structures that they had. They had 2 twin towers. And if that sounds familiar to y'all guys, that's where they got the inspiration for the twin towers in New York from. This is what it was like back then in Peru. Got your spaceship coming in. I told y'all these people, man, the people that govern our society, they are well versed in this information. So it's a lot of stuff that's hiding from you in plain sight. You wouldn't know it unless you study this type of information. So this is an illustration of what the Twin Tower complex was like. Everybody can see that, right? Tiahuanaco set off Pumapunku with a grand gate, the gate of the sun, originally a doorway for a solid granite door for a 9-foot tall person or a person with an elaborate headdress. H blocks right here. Look at this. Y'all think the ancient people of Peru made this? Y'all think the ancient people of Peru was able to make this? Look at these interlocking H blocks. They make a platform. They lock. They blocks that lock in. Look at this shit, man. Look at these interlock. It's Puma Punku right here. we not even making this shit today. We can't do this shit today. I'm telling you right now. They done already proved that they can't do this shit, brother. They already proved they can't do it. The blocks on these things are so tightly fused together. These are megalithic stones, guys. These are 30-foot tall stones. Look at this this is a mountain. This thing is a chunk of a mountain. Look at these big old ass boulders, man. Really taking, let me show y'all something. A human will be this small beside this. A human will be this small beside this stone. Look at this shit. This shit, come on, man. Who put these big old ass blocks up there? Today, we would have to have the world's biggest crane to stack these blocks. And we wouldn't been able to do it. Now, guess what else? No mortar. They got no cement or no mortar between these stones. You can't even get a fucking razor blade in between these stones. If you don't understand how amazing that is, guys, if you don't understand how amazing that is, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. So these are some of the facilities that they are talking about, that Enlil is speaking about building. Okay? See, let me say this shit. Let me say this. What we find in the Sumerian tablet, it lines up with what we find in today's, in the world. It lines up exactly with what we find in the world. That's why we do this. You got the white boys from Ancient Aliens talking about, we don't know what happened. We don't know what this is. They still over there guessing that the Peruvians had something to do with it. No, we know the truth. We got the real truth. An alternative heaven-earth facility in secret we must establish. Let it be in the Nurture's land, beyond the oceans, in the midst of trusted earthlings come to be. Thus was the secret mission in the hands of the Nurture entrusted. So I want y'all to know something, gang. A war took place in Peru. We didn't deal with that in the previous classes before. We dealt with the 3 Pyramid Wars, but that was another war in Peru, over here in the Americas. They don't deal with that one. Okay, we're gonna touch on it. In the mountain lands beyond the oceans, beside the Great Lake. In the mountain land beyond the oceans, beside the Great Lake. Remember I told y'all about Lake Titicaca? Remember last time we was together, I told y'all about Lake Titicaca in Peru. I told y'all it was 2 lakes that's got a lot of extraterrestrial sightings. Lake Titicaca and Lake Vostok. Okay? That's what they talking about. In the mountain lands, beyond the oceans, beside the Great Lake, a new bond, heaven, earth, he was setting up. With an enclosure, he placed it. A plain with firm ground he chose. Hold on, here we go. A plain with firm ground he chose. Listen up, here we go. On it for ascent and descent markings he made. These are the markings that they made. They say on a firm plain. This is over in Peru. These the Nazca lines that they're talking about. Okay? A plain with firm ground he chose. On that ground, markings for ascent and descent he made. Primitive are the facilities, but the purpose they will serve. So did the nurture to his father Enlil in good time declare. From there, gold shipments to Nibiru can continue. From there, in need, we too can descend. Now you know, like I told you about the Nazca lines. This is for the flow of traffic. So when these spaceships coming in, they will know where they need to land. When the ones that's going out, they will know, where they need to take off from and where they need to land from, okay? At that time, what as a blessed event began as a horrible occurrence ended. At that time, the Dumuzi, Enki's youngest son, to Inanna, Nanar's daughter, took a liking. Okay? So now we got Enki's baby boy, then fell in love with Enlil's granddaughter. What that sound like to y'all? What story from humanity's history does that sound like? You got one side of a family, and you got the other side of this other family that's beefing with each other. You got the son of one family and the daughter of another family coming together to date each other. Romeo and Juliet. Sound just like Romeo and Juliet. Hot sex on the platter just to make it wet. Y'all remember that joint? You about to get in something you will never forget. It's like Romeo and Juliet. All right, so Dumuzi has taken a liking to Nanar's daughter, who is Enlil's granddaughter, okay? Inanna, who is Enlil's granddaughter by the Lord of Herding, was captivated. A love that no one knows engulfed them. A passion their hearts inflamed. Many of the love songs that for a long time thereafter were sung. Inanna and Dumuzi was the first to sing them. By a song their love they recounted. To Dumuzi, his youngest son, Enki allotted a large portion of the Abzu. So Enki, basically, if I'm able to understand this, Dumuzi was given Algeria, Libya, Niger, and Chad. Okay? Algeria, Libya, Niger, and Chad was given to Dumuzi. I wonder did they give him Egypt and Sudan too? Nah, Marduk was in Egypt and Sudan. Okay. All right. To Dumuzi, his youngest, Enki, a large domain above the Abzu allotted. Malula, the Black Land, was its name. Highland trees grew there. Its waters were abundant. Large bulls among its river reeds roamed. Greatly numbered were its cattle. Silver from its mountains came. Its copper, bright as gold, was a glitter. Greatly beloved was Dumuzi. By Enki, after the death of Asar, was he favored. So Enki loved his grandson Asar, okay? Osiris, right? Enki loved him. When Osiris died, greatly beloved was Dumuzi. By Enki, after the death of Asar, he was favored, okay? So Dumuzi was his favorite. after Osiris. Of his youngest brother, Marduk was jealous of Dumuzi. Typical. Okay? So Marduk is jealous of even the baby boy. Now, how the hell are you jealous of the baby boy? My God is a jealous God. Ain't that what them Christians say? Of his younger brother Marduk, he was jealous. Inanna, by her parents, Nanar and Ningal, was beloved. Enlil sat by her cradle. Beyond beautiful she was. In martial arts, accompanied... Oh, okay, check this out. That's cool right there. Beyond beautiful she was. In martial arts with Anunnaki heroes, she competed. Okay? So Inanna was like a rich, a wealthy princess, but at the same time, she was trained to fight. Okay? So in martial arts, with Anunnaki heroes, she competed. So she was a tough cookie. Of journeys in the heavens of journeys in the heavens and of the celestial boats from her brother Utu, she learned. A skyship of her own to roam in earth's skies to her the Anunnaki presented. After the deluge, on the landing platform, Dumuzi and Inanna sat eyes on each other. At the dedication of the artifice mounts, between them was a warm encounter. So they met when they first, when they had the celebration, when they had the party to celebrate the building of the pyramids. This is when Inanna and Dumuzi first met. And they fell. They basically it was like love at first sight. Hesitant at first they were. He of Enki's clan, she of Enlil and offspring. When Enhersag for peace brought the clans together, Inanna and Dumuzi, away from the others, managed to be together. Love to each other they professed. So basically they loved each other. They didn't care about the fact that the two families was warring. They loved each other, okay? As they went strolling together, sweet words of alluring love to each other they said. Side by side, they lay down. One heart with the other heart chatted. Around her waist, Dumuzi put his arm. Like a wild bull, he wished to take her. Okay, so, he grabbed around the waist. You know how you grab your woman. Come here, baby. You know what I'm saying? So Dumuzi grabbed her by the waist to pull her close. And she said, let me teach you. Let me teach you. Dumuzi said to Inanna, let me teach you. Let me teach you. To Inanna, he said. Gently she kissed him. Then to him of her mother she spoke. What fib could I tell my mother? What words will you tell Ningal? Let us of our love my mother tell. Of joy see the perfume she will sprinkle on us. To the dwelling place of Ningal, Inanna's mother, the lovers went. So Inanna is worried about what her parents gonna think, okay? To them, Ningal her blessing gave. Of Dumuzi, the mother of Inanna approved. So Ningal was like, no, I want you to be married. And she approved of Dumuzi. Lord Dumuzi, as a son-in-law of Nanar, you are worthy. To him she said. Dumuzi, as a bridegroom by Nanar himself, was welcome. Inanna's brother Utu also said, let it so be. So what this proves is it wasn't a hatred, okay? There was not a hatred between the Elamites and the Enkites. It was just certain ones who didn't rock with each other. For instance, Marduk and Enlil hate each other. But that's not true for the rest of them. Okay, so mom, dad, and brother approved of Dumuzi. Okay, perchance the espousing between the two clans truly will bring them together. Enlil said. So Enlil was hoping by them two dating that this would bring peace between the families. Okay, When of the love and betrothal, Dumuzi to his father and brothers spoke. Enki of peace through espousal was also thinking. So his blessing he gave to Dumuzi. Dumuzi's brothers were joyful about the espousal, all except, guess who? Marduk. A betrothal bed of gold by Jibal was fashioned. Nergal sent stones of blue-hued lapis. Nergal sent stones of blue-hued lapis. Come on with it. Shout out to our sister D. Lynn up in here with the lapis lazuli, baby. Sweet dates of fruit by Inanna favored, beside the bed they in a pile placed. These are wedding gifts, wedding gifts. Under the fruits, the beads of lapis they hid for Inanna to discover. Okay, I guess this is where we get the concept of something old, something new, and something blue. Right? Because the lapis stones were blue. Okay? I guess that's where we get that whole wedding ritual from. Okay? As the custom was to perfume and clothe Inanna, a sister of Dumuzi was sent. Okay? Yeah, something borrowed, something blue. Yeah, there we go. Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue, something like that. Okay, so while these wedding gifts are being exchanged, there's a ritual for the sister-in-law to clothe and perfume the bride-to-be, okay? So Dumuzi's sister Jeshtiana was sent to do that, okay? Dumuzi had a sister named Jeshtiana. She was sent to perfume and clothe Inanna, okay? Jeshtiana, a sister-in-law to be, was her name. To her, Inanna was in her heart revealing of the future with Dumuzi. A vision of great nation I have. As a great Anunnaki, Dumuzi will rise. His name over others shall be exalted. This queen's spouse I shall be. Let me explain to y'all what's going on. If this is Dumuzi's sister, then she's also a sister of Marduk. Okay? So right now, Inanna is telling Jeshtiana that, Marduk is going to take over all of these lands and he's going to be the greatest king. He's going to be above all the other kings of these lands. Basically bragging about the future with Marduk, right? I mean, bragging about the future with Dumuzi. Well, this girl, Jeshtiana, like I told you, she's the sister of Marduk as well as Dumuzi. So she's going to take this information back to Marduk. Now, you don't think Marduk is going to take too kindly hearing about how his baby brother is about to take over all the land and how him and his wife is going to rule and be in control of everything. Now, you know Marduk don't want to hear this. But that's what that dust-ass bitch Jeshtiana did. Jeshtiana went back and, she basically ratted out Inanna. Inanna was running her mouth a little bit too much. You don't even know this woman. And you're running your mouth about what you want to do. Okay? Princely status we will share. Rebellious countries we shall subdue together. To Dumuzi I will give status. The country I will rightly direct. Inanna's vision of rulership and glory by Jeshtiana to her brother Marduk was reported. By Inanna's ambitions, Marduk was greatly disturbed. To Jeshtiana, a secret plan he told. For real, Corlisa should have kept her damn mouth closed. To her brother Dumuzi, to the herder's dwelling, Jeshtiana went. Lovely to behold in perfume, to her brother Dumuzi, she said this. Okay, so she go to Dumuzi's tent. Okay, smelling good and looking good. But what you need to be smelling good and looking good to go see your brother for? This your brother, girl. Before, this is Jestiana speaking to Dumuzi. Before, with your young wife in your embrace, with you will sleep. A legitimate heir by a sister born you must have. We on Earth now. Hold on now. I know that shit go on Nibiru, but we on Earth now. We ain't humping our sisters no more. Okay? But Jestiana says, before you get married to this woman, you need to have a real heir. So in her eyes, a real heir is having a baby by your sister. Okay? We ain't on the Nibiru no more, man. I thought we left that nasty ass shit on the Nibiru. But they still down here getting freaky with sister and brothers. All right? So Jestiana tells Dumuzi, you need to have a real heir. You need to have a birth by your sister. Okay? Inanna's son shall not be entitled to succession. On your mother's knees, he will not be raised. She put his hand in her hand. She pressed her body against his body. Ooh, she freaky. My brother, will you lay down with me? With you, a peer of Enki we shall have. So did Jestiana to Dumuzi whisper, a noble issue from her to offer her womb. How noble of her to offer her womb up. Huh? And you know Dumuzi is Enki's son. Now y'all know this. Now y'all know damn well them Enki boys can't pass up no coochie. They don't care where it come from. They don't care if it come from an auntie, a cousin. They can't pass up no coochie. So in Enki fashion, into her womb, Dumuzi poured the semen. By her caressing, he fell asleep. Let me read that back to y'all. I'm going to read this back to y'all in real terms. So Dumuzi laid up in that meat. That meat was so good that he fell asleep. Basically, that's what happened. That's basically what happened. She put that thing on him. She put that whop on him and put him to sleep. Boy was over there snoring. Put that sister coochie on him. During the night, Dumuzi had a dream. A premonition of death he envisioned. Okay? So he done had a dream. He done had a premonition of death. In the dream, 7 evil bandits he saw coming into his dwelling. The master has sent us for you, son of Kuttah, to him they said. They chased away his ewes, his lambs, and his kids they drove away. So remember, this is a dream he's having, okay? The headdress of lordship they took off his head. The royal robe off his body they tore. The staff of shepherding they took and broke. His cup from its peg they threw down. Naked and barefooted they seized him. In fetters they bound his hands. In the name of the princely bird and the falcon they left him dying. Disturbed and startled, Dumuzi in the middle of the night awoke. To Jestiana he told the dream. The dream is not favorable, Jestiana to distraught Dumuzi said. I will accuse you of raping me. I will tell Marta that you raped me. He will accuse you. Evil he will send. What? Wait a minute. This man told this woman that he had a bad dream. She said that this is a bad sign. All of a sudden, she tells him, I'm going to accuse you of rape. I'm going to tell Marduk that you sexually assaulted me. Y'all see, this was the trap. Marduk sent Justiniana to do this. Okay? That's, if you didn't get it, this is what happened. Marduk sent Justiniana. After Marduk heard from Justiniana that Inanna had all these plans to take over. Not Samson and Delilah, my love. Not that. Not even close. Samson and Delilah is more of a human story. And that's a long ways away from this. But when Marduk heard Justiniana say that Inanna planned to take over his lands, Marduk put together a plan to betray Dumuzi. Okay? So he sent his sister to have sex with him. And the plan was to have sex, but then accuse him of rape. Okay? To try you and disgrace you, he will order the liaison with an Elamite to disunite. As a wounded beast, Dumuzi roared a cry. Betrayal! Betrayal! He shouted. To Inanna's brother, he went. Help me, brother. The name of his father, Enki, as a talisman he uttered. Through the desert of Emush, the snake's desert, Dumuzi rushed to escape. To the place of the mighty waterfalls, from the evildoers he ran to hide. Where the gushing water, the rocks to slippery smoothness made, Dumuzi slipped and fell. The onrushing waters, his lifeless body in a white froth swept away. Evil emissaries to arrest you. Dumuzi is gone. Okay? Woo. So now Dumuzi is dead. Another Anunnaki son, another brother. Okay? So they're going to have to deal with a lot of grief from the death. And it's the death of the baby boy. It's the baby boy. So this one go hit home. All right? And this is also, guys, this is the event that causes all hell to break loose. Okay? So from this event, this is about to shatter all alliances, and it's about to lead us to war. Okay? So this event, this death of Dumuzi, is going to lead to Pyramid War 2. The second Pyramid War. And that Pyramid War is going to be led by Inanna versus Marduk. Okay? Shit about to get good. This is where we're going to stop at today. We're going to stop right here with the death of Dumuzi. Tomorrow, we're gonna deal with the aftermath. What happened after they found out Dumuzi was dead? I can tell you this, Inanna about to go crazy. Just imagine, just imagine being a young sister. Right, a young sister, you in love with this brother, and you get a call that your old man that you about to marry is okay. So she gonna go crazy. All right. Again, guys, I need y'all to understand that this is the true story of humanity's history. Okay, to understand this story, you got to understand that the parent race had all the action first. Then later, humans will begin to be the forefront of the story. Right now, the forefront of the story is still the parent race, which is the Anunnaki. Okay? So that's where we're going to be at tomorrow. When we get back, it's about to get good, guys. About to get real good. Okay? Shout out.